It's time to do something. I'm Roman Mars.
Well, good morning YouTube fans. It's here BMW, and a slightly different project on board this morning. Like many, watching, all the different types of videos and things. A fellow named Tom Lipton at Oxtoolco was talking the other day on his sort of anniversary episode about all the different types of subscriptions that he has, and that really, as always, got me thinking the incredibly wide variety of things that I like to look at. One of which is these folks are taking just old flea market fine tools and just sort of refurbishing and rehabbing, and I thought, well, it gave me the inspiration to go ahead and try it. This is one of those items that I picked up at the Knights of Columbus yard sale. You bought some ratty old useless toolbox for $5 and you could put all the tools in it you could carry home. So, and in this case, this is as near as I can tell, it's Fernhurst, made in England, and it's a Yankee Screwdriver type. This is a number 254, and mechanically it seemed to be in good shape, but you can see, well, hopefully you can see the sort of rust that was on there. And then this is what was the clear plastic handle, and I don't know if I'll be able to do anything with this or not, but I'm going to give it a try. I've got some wet dry sandpaper and some things like that, but it is amazingly intricate. All the little, as my English friends would say, bits and bobs that go inside of it, these little cams and levers and forward and reverse and things like that. So that's the plan. Another fellow that I watch, I saw it on his channel. I'm sure he's not the first person to have used it, but a product called Evaporust. I buy it at O'Reilly. I believe it's available in a number of places. Can really make a huge difference with things like this that are not terribly rusted. And just as an example, for Tom Lipton, I found this little hammer head was in the same lot of tools that I picked up, and I don't know if this is a real honest to goodness hammer or this was just part of some child's basic tool kit, for kids or something. I mean, the casting is pretty rough. It still has some remaining green paint on it, and the head is, as my friends would say, mommicked up quite badly. So I don't know what that means, but I thought it was kind of neat. And this looked very much like this, not pitted rust, but just surface rust. And this is another one that was in the same, and this is actually a Yankee. Yeah, so I may or may not get around to that depending on how this works out. There's a lot of bits to put back together. So in any event, that's the plan, is I'll clean all these parts up with some simple green to get the the grease and oil sorts of bits off. And then I think these are brass, perhaps bronze, I don't know. So really these bits in here, this is, I don't know, pot metal, aluminum, don't know. My plan is not really, well, depending, it is probably not to do anything to change the look of it. The object isn't to restore it to some former glory. The idea is simply to clean it up, make it functional, or keep it functional, give it some added life. And depending on how this turns out, get it right way. Depending how this turns out, I may, if this simply just is not going to improve, I may leave it that way, or I may just paint the whole bit. I don't know. We'll see. It's really genuinely not a tool that I use. I have several from my woodworking career, and quite frankly, having begun my career with power tools, I have nothing but respect for the old style carpenters. So what I'm going to do now is turn you all off and just get these bits cleaned up, figure out what needs to go into the evaporust, and then you know, once things are cleaned up, be able to do a little bit more of an evaluation just to make sure. I mean, the tool worked okay. It really stuck badly going in one direction, but I think that was probably due a lot just to the you know, things being stiff. So once I get it cleaned up and derusted, then I'll get some machine oil out, or actually I have gun oil, and I still have it's actually very cool. I have one of those little tiny cans of A1 oil. Most people today probably wouldn't even know what that was, but back in the 60s and 70s, that was, everybody had a can of A1 oil. Click, click. So anyway, we'll come back as soon as I got something more to show y'all. Alright, thanks. Okay, boys and girls. So I tried filming the disassembly, but it was an awful lot of start and stop and start and stop and turn the camera on and off, and not very good at that. So what I've done is I have finished up with all the pieces. Everything's been refinished, I guess, if you will. I think everything is ready to go. I've dry fit it. Everything seems to fit together just fine. I think this piece in particular turned out nicely. Hopefully that's in focus. You can see that it. You know, I've sanded it with 1000 and 2000 grit, and then took some plastic polish. And there are still quite a lot of scratches on the outside, and quite a bit of it is on the inside. But I don't want to, it would be very difficult to try and get inside, but hopefully you can see that right there, there's a plastic sleeve on the inside, which is where the screw tips and things, or the drill tips and things fit, and there'd be no way really to get in there to do anything with that. So I've still got a little polish in the cracks and things to get out of there, but I'm going to wait until I get finished to sort of detail it. The cap turned out beautifully. It's interesting in sort of history that you can sort of figure out from things. There's a bunch of little dents in there. In all likelihood somebody was beating on it with something. So the mechanism at the end, a lot of that black that you see in there is the result of the rust having been transformed into, I don't know, something else, iron oxide or whatever it is. I don't know. I guess no, iron oxide would be rust. So I've given this a light coating of one of my favorite sprays, the white lithium grease. It dries and lasts a long time, and it doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't make a mess out of anything. I hope this is even showing up. Here I am flopping along and I have no idea. No idea whether it's even in the frame. So anyway. Okay. 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 So, there we go. Locked in. Now, this piece. Okay. Now this piece. and it's just a matter of getting it to engage with the two separate pieces. There it is. Okay. There's there. Okay. So now down inside there's a groove right there, and that's where this little C-clip has got to go. And quite frankly, it is, you can tell, it's fairly distorted, and that occurred when I was taking it out of here. In fact, I'm quite sure it was never intended to come out of there. As a result, it didn't want to. Yeah, I think that's going to be a bit of a problem. I'll be right back. I don't know who the Leo is, but somebody's clearly missing. The idea is to try and get some leverage in there and push that pin down. I suppose what I should probably try and do is to reduce the size of the pin before I put it in there. All the pin, of course, does is keep it from pulling all the way out, so I think that's going to be okay. Then this is the return spring, okay, which is beautiful copper, I think. Now, alright, so a little bit of drama going on with the neighborhood youngins out there. So now this, oh, okay. Alright, so that needs to go on first then. Okay. So you say, well, why didn't you take notes? Well, actually, I filmed the whole thing, and quite honestly, the camera that I'm filming on right now is the one that I filmed all that with, and it's on the same disc. So that's why. So this is really just a pressure fit. It's still a little bit slippery. It doesn't fly out or kink, which would actually be worse if it kinked. Oh, come on. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to get a big screwdriver. There it is. So the cap then fits on here, like so. And there you have it. Ratcheting, reversing screwdriver. Yeah, I think that yeah, I'm certain that the hold up and the giddy up and go there is that half moon washer that's in the end there. And quite frankly, since I don't have any plans to actually use this, I'm not too concerned about that. And anyway, there you go. It had a Phillips head, and then it had a little drill bit. So there you go. So there it is. That's a, what I believe is a Fernhurst, Fernhurst, made in England. So now that I'm essentially finished with it, I need to just do some little bit of detailing on it. Some of these ribs have still got some polishing compound, just needs to come out of there. Get the fingerprints off, yada yada yada. And so I think that turned out pretty well. I'm happy with it. It's been a beautiful Saturday to be here in the shop, so I'll call that a good job. And over here, I'll show you while I'm at it. We've got the bits and pieces for the Yankee. So the key with this stuff is just giving it time and keeping it wet. So so that's all I'm trying to do there. So I think that's coming along fine. And then here, unlike the other one, and I think this is actually really interesting, it's got a much shorter than the other one, much shorter screw, and you can see the wear up here. And interestingly enough, there's a small hole on this other sleeve that says oil, and this little wooden stopper sits in the top, and the oil comes in right there, and then it just seeps down, allows you to oil it. So very cool. And the cross pin is, quite honestly, is just a ratty old nail, which I'll clean up and probably put back in there, because I don't have any drift pins or whatever technically that thing's called. And yeah, this is the gun oil that I'm using to just sort of lubricate it up. So I think that's about it, YouTube. I hope you found that, if not interesting, at least not boring. And we'll see. I don't think I have too much else. Oh, I was going to show these things. Yeah. These just happened to be some pieces I had done a number of years ago after my father-in-law passed away, and we were cleaning out his garage. Found this oil can, and I didn't do anything to it but clean it up. But it's really cool, and I'm gonna put it to use someday. And then this is something that I had never seen before, but it's a grease gun, just a little mini grease gun. Put your grease in there, and yeah, pretty cool. I haven't used it or tried it, don't need to. And this is, let me see, this is, yeah, wow, it's so dang hard to read. Manufacturing Company, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Oh, KP. Letters KP. KP Manufacturing Company, Minneapolis, Minnesota. There you go. And this, I don't think this can even had any markings. I mean, I think this was just as inexpensive as it gets at the time, you know, like a lot of guys were just having their garages. Oh, still some that crappy dried oil. Keep cleaned and scrubbed, and then when it's wet, it's clear, you can't see it, and then when it dries or gums up, it turns yellow. So, but it's pretty close. So that's it, guys. Thanks all very much for watching.